Welcome back to Reckless Banter. My name's Rain.
My name's Michelle.
My name's Jeff.
Jeffrey!
Sounded like
I never know where to go with it.
Like halftime.
Like Rain always has to have the last word, but he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah, I went loose on that one. All right.
loose.
You are loose.
Yeah. How do you know? So we have a guest tonight. It's always awesome when we have a guest, and we found this guest in a podcast group looking for guests or looking to be guest, and I think his name is Ira. Hit me up. I'm gonna go ahead and throw him up here. Ira.
I'm 47. Are we on the air?
What's up, brother?
I was gonna, leave the chair so you guys be like, what the fuck? Like, where's our guest?
Well, you missed that opportunity.
I decided to go easy on it. So welcome to Reckless Banter, y'all. How you
Yeah.
doing?
Welcome,
I didn't mean to
welcome.
intro your show there, but
No, you're good. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm fantastic, man. We're frozen here in Illinois, but other than that, hang out with the dog, drink lattes all day.
There you
Gangster
go.
shit.
Hell yeah. Well, you are the guest. We want to know all about you, and
Outstanding.
you were in the military, right?
I was, yeah.
So yeah, we want to hear from your earlier times all the way up until today. I know you have a podcast now, and I actually listened to it this morning on the way to work.
Oh yeah, what you think? Was it good?
I liked it. Yeah.
My bro host Chaz has that voice, man, like a young little Luther Vandross.
I would have
Shout out to
listened.
Chaz, by the way.
I would have
That's
listened
my
to have
bro.
a little bit of information, but he likes to withhold information until
Withholding that.
I'm
We get
really
here.
really lazy about texting people back sometimes. But
That's all good, man. I'm just lazy in general.
yeah, hey, that's me too. But yeah, tell us who you are. You got the floor. Tell us.
Oh
Tell
man,
us.
I love talking about myself too. This is
Yeah,
gonna be great.
Isn't it awesome?
So Ira Hearen, I go by Ira, or in the military circles, I have a cool handle or whatever you want to call it, Joker. But yeah, born and raised Southern California, out in the desert near like Yuma, Arizona, tucked away, just out in the middle of this little small town, farming culture and everything. And my dad, when I was a senior, goes, "Hey, what do you want to do after high school?" I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know. Like, I got a 2.0, so college is out of the question." It's like I'm thinking about joining the military, and he's like, "Whoa, what do you think of the Air Force?" I'm like, "No, yeah, that might be cool." Like 2 days later, he comes home like, "Hey, get your shit. We're going to dinner. We're gonna stop off somewhere along the way." I'm like, we get halfway there, like a 10-mile drive. I look over, and I'm like, "Where are we going?" He goes, "Oh, we're going to see the Air Force recruiter." Like, we're seriously doing that. He goes, "Yeah, you said you wanted to." I was like, "Well, I said I'd think about it, but I mean, I guess I like free boots, so
think fast.
yeah,
Free boots.
I like free boots and walking everywhere. That's my jam. So it worked out great, So yeah, I went to basic training right out of high school. Did the whole, boot camp, all those things. Went in with a nursing license, and then they put me in a mechanical career field. Like the recruiter, I thought he said medical. Apparently my hearing was bad even back then, because I get there and you get like 3 weeks into your boot camp, right? And then they sit you down and say, "Here's all your jobs you can have." And I'm thinking like, EMT or something cool, with the medical field. And I look down and it's like fire truck mechanic, general purpose vehicle mechanic, and then air transportation. I was like, I looked at the lady, I was like, "Ma'am, I have a nursing license." She's like, "Yeah, that's cool. Pick a job." Like, wow. Okay. So I just randomly pointed at one. It had like 24 openings. I was like, "Oh, cool. This sounds great." Yeah. I spent the next 20 years, and it was a fantastic adventure. Ended up in what we call the air transportation career field, aerial port. We load planes with cargo, passengers. I've loaded cows. We've loaded chickens, which is a horrible experience. Never load chickens on a plane, y'all, if you've never done that. Yeah, and just did that for 20 years, bounced around the globe. Started off, I went to Guam, which is like this little island out in the South Pacific, and had a great time. I spent 15 months there. I think I remember about 6 of those months because, I was a young guy fresh out of high school. So out doing all that stuff. And then went to North Carolina to Pope Air Force Base, right up the road. I think you guys are in North Carolina, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah. So I went there, and that was pre 9/11. It was very quiet, kind of tucked away. Then went to South Korea for the first time of 3 tours, and did some time there, and then 9/11 popped off, and that's when things started getting pretty
Intense.
pretty Wild West, man. Like, so I get back to Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina, and like half of the units deployed. The other half is either just getting back from a deployment or getting ready to go. So it's like we're just just going all out, assholes and elbows everywhere, right? So ended up in Afghanistan, Iraq. Get back there, go back to Korea, working back over there. Came here to Illinois after that tour. Had a few kids. Next thing I know, I ended up back in Korea again. And that's kind of where almost the podcast idea took root with my bro host Chaz. We were sitting on the back porch of our barracks, and we can't remember who didn't have a cigarette and who did. So it was like, hey man, like you got a square? Someone ended up with a cigarette they didn't have, and it's like that scene out of Step Brothers. We were like, oh my god, like did we just become best friends? And since then we really hit it off. We ended both going back to Germany after that year in Korea. Bounced around, loading planes and leading some duty sections and whatnot. And then I retired out of there, man. It was 20 years. My back had gone out really bad. Bad knees, getting migraines. So it was time to go. And after retirement, after all those shenanigans and the highs and lows and everything, when I retired, it was great for like the first 3 weeks, man. I watched all the Marvel movies, took a lot of naps. But one day I took, the kid to the bus stop, and I got back to the kitchen, and, this is really where the veteran transition that we talk about took hold. And, I had breakfast, another cup of coffee, and then I realized it's 9:30 in the morning. Usually I would be at work in uniform, shaved face and everything. And I realized I had no real sense of identity or purpose anymore. Because I had joined when I was 18, right? Those formative years when you're supposed to go out and find yourself. Well, in the military, you don't find your identity. They kind of just issue you one and say, hey, this is you for the next 4 to 40 years.
How old were you when you retired?
Dude, I was 38 when I retired.
So you joined when you were 18 and you retired when you were 38. So
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, so 20 years in, and was it the they said in, was it Shawshank Redemption, right? You just get institutionalized.
Right.
And that's kind of the sense that you get is you start going hey, what am I supposed to do? Not just in the day to day, but what is my purpose? What is my identity? Because, like I said, you get that sense of purpose when you're working your missions and doing your job. Yeah. And then, you get your identity. It's on your chest with your name tag and, with your rank. And,
but do you feel proud? Do you?
Oh yeah, most definitely, dude.
I mean, you feel like a badass when you go out. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel proud. I don't know about the whole badass part, but
you've done something with your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and like I said, man, the 20 years I spent in the Air Force were fantastic. I took some great adventures, met a shit ton of amazing people that I still keep in contact with today, and it's it's funny because when you think about how big the veteran network is, when you get out, no one talks about the stuff you go through, right? They're like, oh, hey, cool, you retired, man. They kind of hit you with a high five on your way out the door, and then you end up with those lost identities and everything. And you're proud of your service, and you keep that with you. Yeah. And every veteran does. But at the end of the day, when the expiration date on the uniform, when you reach that date and it comes off, you kind of end up at a loss. What do you do?
I've always kind of wondered that, and I've even asked the question why isn't there a program to bring people back to civilian life. Like, you know, like teach them how to be a civilian again, because like you said, it is like being institutionalized. And I'm sure in a sense you've been brainwashed to a point, or you just, you know, you're on a one track mind, and then you're all of a sudden handed all this freedom. Like what do you do? It's like a blank page. What am I going to draw today?
Yeah. So for like the first, like I said, 3 weeks, you're like a, you know, like an 8-year-old in a, you know, on a road trip with a $20 bill in a gas station. You're just doing all the things and stuff and relaxing. But, yeah, it was, I said, dude, it was a great time. But when you do get that mindset, like the military is not just a subculture; it's its own culture, dude. Like, even like the way we speak and carry ourselves. You know, so many acronyms and abbreviations out there that, like, it's a totally different language. It's a totally different lifestyle. So when you do get that freedom, you run with it, and then you find out that, wow, like nothing I've done for the last 4 years or 20 or 30 years, depending on how long they served, like that all kind of just goes away. Like at the, you know, like you sign your name on the bottom of your separation paperwork and it's done. Like there's no confetti doesn't pop out. There's no birthday cake. Like, it's just, you kind of go home and hang your boots up for the last time.
That's crazy.
So
yeah,
my question to you is, how do you feel about what goes on in the world today? Like, people that's unappreciative of being a citizen of the U.S., the flag, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, if you see somebody like burning a flag or stomping a flag or whatever, what's your feelings on that? Like,
when you see it on like video, or, you know, if you're not there in person, of course you automatically think, you know, number one, I hope this guy never comes to this area. But then secondly, you're kind of looking at him like, who's jumping into, like, because we all have that sense of Americanism, right? We're all supposed to, if you're in this, you know, if you're here, you know, you're supposed to love the flag and what it stands for. But being in the military definitely gives you a bigger sense of that patriotism, that Americanism, that like, it does not bode well. Like the same people who burn the flag in, you know, downtown San Bernardino, yeah, go do that in like Fayetteville, North Carolina, where the 82nd Airborne is. You know, go do that outside like Paris Island, where the Marines are, you know, going through boot camp. I bet you that won't happen very much.
So what about people? Because I'm a military child.
Outstanding.
My biological, kinda. I didn't like move too much because it was a weird situation. My parents divorced, anyways. So my biological dad was in the military. We lived on Andrews Air Force Base when I was little. And then my parents divorced, and my mom met my stepdad. And we met my stepdad right at his retirement, the 20 years. He was 20 years in the Navy. He was a senior chief. So he kind of had that going from military to he had a family, but going to civilian family life, like with your family every day, 9 to 5. And then my brother was in the military. Now, obviously, everybody has different experiences in the military. And my brother is a patriot. He loves America. But there are a lot of people that get out of the military, and the military wasn't good for them. And they have those bad feelings where it's like, okay, I went through this. My mental health has severely suffered because of PTSD from being in the military. And here I am out of the military, and now I'm on the streets with nowhere to go, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. You know, to speak to that point right there, where they have like no place to go, and you know, they've got those mental health issues, and you know, everything that goes on with being in the military, it does impact you. Like, you know, I've known guys who got out after 4 years that were, you know, did not go through it unscathed, to put it that way.
Yeah.
And then I've known guys that were in for 20 or 30 years, and they get out and life is good. They miss the uniform and the identity, but, you know, every story is different. You know, some people, when they get out, they harbor hard feelings. I don't know why. Like, I can't speak to that. Because I don't. Like, I had a blast. Like, all the traveling I got to do and the people I got to meet. The job takes care of itself.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all dependent upon what their story is. And it's kind of what Bravo Mission Radio is out there, is to get those stories out. And like, okay, you're upset, but why? Like, how could we help you, or who can we refer you to, or, you know, like, what's the root cause of why you're so bitter?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad had a great experience.
Oh yeah.
He loved it. My brother, he was in the army, and he went 2 tours in Iraq running the front line. So he had a very rough experience. So he came back to alcoholism, and now he doesn't talk to any of us anymore. You know, he's got his own deep-seated issues also, but like, he came back as, you know, divorced, alcoholic for a little while, and I think now he's doing better, but he's still not. Everybody thinks you were in the military, you get a military paycheck every month, that's plenty, and it's not. Your retirement check, or your, you know, it is not enough. Like, my dad was 20 years, and it's not enough for him not to go to work. He didn't retire and then go live at the beach. He retired and then went to work.
Yeah.
So I feel like people have a misconception of that. Like, you're out of the military, you get a military check every month, you get military benefits. Okay, that helps me a little bit. But I also, you know, sacrificed 20 years of my life missing my kids growing up for, you know, being deployed. Things like, there's a lot you miss out on to get that little check that you guys aren't getting $8,000 a month to live off of.
It hasn't hit my account like that yet.
Right.
But when it does, you know, I'll let you guys know.
Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of misconceptions with people too when it comes to people who have served. I'm grateful because I know what it's like. I know what it's like for my dad to be gone, and the sacrifices not only you guys make, but the family makes too, because we miss out on having a father present or a mother present in our lives because they're being deployed, because they're serving our country. And then a lot of people, when you get home, they don't respect you for it. They're like, okay, you went and did a job. It's like, no, you don't understand what they sacrificed to make sure you have what you have.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, when the GIs come back, like your brother, right? You know, 2 full tours in Iraq, and you said on the front lines, and he comes back, and those are a lot of those issues he's experiencing. You know, we all share the same military story on the top 1 or 2 layers, but what we're finding out is, like, once you get to like that 3rd and 4th layer and beyond that, you're really starting to get into the brass tacks of what's going on, and where they're at. You know, and there's the feelings of isolation and alcoholism, and those are part of those issues, the personal issues, not the personnel issues.
Yeah.
That when they leave the military, you know, there's a ton of services out there. But you know, vulnerability is a huge thing in the military. Like, we don't want to say we're okay. Like, hey, how you doing today? Oh, we're fine. You know, you'll hear that a lot from a lot of veterans, or, you know, I'm making it. And, you know, so there's stigmas out there that we're trying to bust through, because yeah, if he's got PTSD and he drinks and is feeling isolated, you know, just keep reaching out. You know, Google all the veteran services you can to try and crack through that shell, because it's a struggle for a lot of the veterans that came out of, you know, the military, especially in the last 20 to 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, we fought a totally different war than we were used to over there.
I come from a long line of military. My grandfather was in World War II. My uncle was in he was in Vietnam. My other uncle was in the Desert Storm. My grandfather didn't talk about the military much. I remember as a little kid, I asked him about, you know, the war, World War II, and what he did, and, you know, he didn't really talk about much. I wouldn't say he was really depressed then. He was more happy he was more a patriot of his country, and he was happy to live his life and be out of the war. The very little that he told me about it, you know, he was talking about the Germans and how they dressed and how they smelt and this and that, you know. But, I mean, they literally, you know, they ambushed a train as it came by of Germans, and that's basically all he told me. But, you know, I have my other uncle. He was in Vietnam. He told me all about the crazy stuff. He had Agent Orange, or he contracted Agent Orange, and how it was and this and that. My other uncle that was in Desert Storm, it wasn't much, but it was, he served his 25 years and he retired. But it was Army, it was Navy, it was Marines. You know what I mean? It kind of covered a lot of the military, not all of it, but it covered a lot of it. So I kind of got a little bit of story from each and individual branch of the military. But,
Yeah.
So you were in the Air Force, right?
Yeah. Yep. U.S. Air Force, 20 years. Yeah.
What I know you kind of ran through your history and being in the Air Force, but what was like your main job?
It was loading planes, man. Like cargo, everything from tanks and beans and bullets is the saying, and then, like I said, a plane full of chickens we loaded.
I want to hear about the chickens.
That was an Afghanistan adventure, and we don't know why, but
I was actually gonna ask, like, why chickens?
it was just this C-130 with chickens on it landed, and we knew they were coming in, but it was like we heard it in a shift briefing, but we were half asleep, so it was like, oh, like frozen chickens, who cares? No, all live, like all live. Just like what, So then you put the chicken, the whole pallet of chickens on a forklift, and they're just losing their shit. Literally,
That's awesome.
sometimes.
Oh, well, at least they weren't like, stray chickens running around. Any of them get loose?
No, thank God.
Yeah, they're not easy to
I
catch.
was wondering the same thing.
Like a hammer costs like $10,000. I'd hate to see what a government chicken costs. Like, holy shit! This is crazy. I can go get you a 12-piece at KFC for $20. Let's call it even, man. No, so I loaded planes, and like I said, there was so much that we were so multifaceted. Like you could be at one base where you're loading the Army and all their equipment, like they're at Pope Air Force Base. I was loading out the whole 82nd Airborne and a lot of those units we can't talk about, and even the Air Force units. And then you would go to like South Korea where you're loading out the Army again, but you're also dealing with all the families coming and going and cargo for like all of just the base to live off of and everything. So a lot of really cool adventures. And any of your downtime, especially deployed, you just fill it up with like that camaraderie, right? That's the best part for me, was being in the military. And in my job, we were so short manned. It was like you knew everyone in the career field if you went to Korea or stayed overseas long enough. So you'd sit there and you'd just be bullshitting. Like the smoke pit was our main attraction. Like you just go out there. Even the guys who didn't smoke would be out in the smoke pit, right? And you would just hear bits of wisdom and nuggets and make up games. Like deployed, we made up a game. We were so bored. Someone had knocked over a road cone in the middle of the gravel yard. So we developed a game with like a scoring system and rankings and everything of who could throw what kind of rock the furthest and make it in the cone.
That's awesome. I think is that like where cornhole came from?
Maybe it is. Maybe I should have trademarked it.
I used to have a friend that he made these like square. He would take a 2x4 and make like a square box out of it, and then put a coffee can in the center, and he would throw washers.
Yeah, washer boxes. Yeah, that's another part you used to do. We'd play that over there. Stuff like that. But it was a great time. Like I said, and then my last job was I was doing airdrops. Rigging parachutes up for attaching it to cargo to be dropped over war zone or humanitarian mission or whatever. So I was doing that for the last like 5 years. Spending like a week a month down in Bavaria, Germany, just recovering these airdrop things for like 3 hours and then going back to the hotel. So very multifaceted, multi-purpose job that I had, and it was great, man. Very physically and demanding and arduous. So we all come out with like the 100% disability, bad knees, lower backs, bad shoulders, all that good stuff. There's all kinds of surgeries and stuff we've all had. It's pretty. Yeah. It's like those war wounds you see people talk about in the movies,
Life Coaching by Chaz 2570 says, Ira, you are the man.
Oh, I love that dude. That's my brosif, man.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say, I
nice.
think that's
Yeah, that's the ebony to my ivory, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
He's my ride or die, man. And he's one of those folks. We talk about the military transition and how veterans struggle is sometimes they get out of that tribe, and they think, well, my military's done. I got to go forth and find a new place where I belong. But guys like Chaz and quite a few other people. My buddy Bill lives across the street. Quite a few people I met in Germany right after I retired. Uh, we're very close knit, and Chaz and a few other folks, man, they got me through the hard times of the identity crisis and the loss of purpose. So my last job, when I got laid off, I was like, for 30 seconds, just like devastated. Like, oh, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is bullshit. And then I was like, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, this is amazing. Like, so for the first time since I was 18, I was gonna be like hardcore unemployed. It's like I got to do something with veterans. And then like 3 days later, me and Chaz were on a phone call, and I'd come up with the name Bravo Mission. He goes, "Dude, we've been trying for like 10 years to do this podcast. Let's do a veteran focused podcast." So we called it Bravo Mission Radio and launched, man. And it's just to point out all these issues that our vet brothers and sisters go through.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Oh God. You reach a point when you don't remember.
Yeah.
47. I just turned 47 in
47.
January.
So you've been
yeah.
out of the military for 9 years?
9 years, man. No, 8 years. I just hit my 8 year on January 1st.
8 years.
8 years, man.
So what have you been doing for work since the military? Like once you got out, did you go find a regular job? Like did you?
Oh, so when I first got out, I was still stationed overseas because my wife was active duty. Mad shout out to you, boo, if you're watching. But so I was a trophy husband. I'm not gonna lie. I was just a trophy husband for 2 years. She got all this. So I did college, got my psychology degree, which hangs up on the wall, and that's pretty much all I did with that. We moved back to the States, and then I got a job working for the federal government in my old job, but as a civilian. So, the blazer and the tie and the button-up front collared shirts and all that stuff. Year after that, rolled out of that and did contracting, working. It was like data analyst stuff. And I was like, I'm not a data analyst, but cool, I can figure it out. And then I got called up to some big league consulting work with a company, one of the big four consulting firms in the world. And man, it was great for a while, but it was corporate. I'm not a corporate guy.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't like fulfilling what I thought I should be doing in life. It was my 9 to 5. It was great salary, great benefits. But when I found out I was getting laid off the night before, when I had my little freak out for about 30 seconds, the next day I got on the line with the HR rep, and it's a video call, and I'm out on the back porch with the dog drinking coffee, and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing fucking fantastic. Like, this is great. Sunshine. I got some coffee. My dog's here. It's a great day. Weather's wonderful." And she goes, "You do know why you're here, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm here to get fucking fired." And she just gave me this weird look, like, "Oh, okay." So she gets halfway through my termination, and she starts tearing up to the point where I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. I got this figured out. I'm good."
You're consoling the lady that still has her job.
Yeah, I'm literally walking myself through getting myself fired. Like, who does that, right?
Right.
It was just this odd moment, and I was like, "No, just keep going." So I'm like walking her through my own termination, and got off the phone. And like I said, that's what I did for the last 8 years, and it was just wasn't me. It was ill-fitting. It paid the bills, gave me some extra money in the pocket. But at the same time, it was that longing to do something else. And I never really shook that purpose of service that we carry with us in the military. So like I said, after I got fired, man, I burned all my boats on the beach. Like, I have no retreat. There's no plan B. burned all the boats. I'm done. This is, moving forward with working, for the veteran community and focusing on the issues that we have within our own little culture. That's it, man. That's the life goal right there. That's my passion and my purpose really aligned. So now my job is this. Just getting the word out about what our veteran brothers and sisters go through and their loved ones.
Yeah.
It's like she said, you're 20 years your dad served, and when he gets out, now the family's home, or he's home with the family all the time. Well, we're kind of used to dad being gone all the time. Like, how does that paradigm, shift happen? So that's our goal, man, is to just get all of these cool, outstanding folks, get their stories out there, man, because every veteran is different. We're not cookie cutter at all, especially when we get out. All the experiences are different, and like with your brother, have him reach out. We've got the Bravo Mission Radio hotline group. Like, have him reach out to someone.
Yeah, I've tried to in recent events that happened
Yeah.
in my life. I did try to reach out to him, but he just kind of ignored me. And I don't know, maybe there's other things that happened in his life too, not just the military, but the military kind of set it all off. And I think he holds some resentment towards me, even though I've always tried to be his friend when there were things going on in the family. I've never been that one to get involved in that drama. Like, I don't really care.
I don't think you ever talked about him around me.
I don't have a relationship with him.
I know you mentioned it before,
I just don't have a relationship with him, unfortunately. He doesn't live that far away, but he just, we were in his area meeting my stepsister who lives with him for lunch, and he didn't come, and he was at an event there on the street. They were holding a little street event, and I thought we'd walk over to the booth or something. We never did. This was before I even knew you. We didn't even go over there. But after my separation, I did reach out to him and said, like, hey, how's life? And I just never got a reply. And I'm like, well, I can later on send him another message and see what happens.
There's a guy that came down to my work, an old guy. He was in World War II. He was actually on the beach of Normandy.
Oof.
And he actually was in the funeral service of my uncle, the one that just passed. He does all the funeral things, for the military. But he came down and he told me a story of that day of storming the beach on Normandy. And if you ever literally sit down and listen to his story, I swear you would walk away with a tear. I promise you would. But he tells this story, and he's setting you up for the whole plot. He's telling you how it felt, how the weather was that day, what they were thinking. They were just kids basically. But basically they were told, look to your left, look to your right, those people is probably not going to be with you. And he said, honestly, the guy to my left, the guy to my right, they're not here today.
Well, and that's
he didn't go into high detail of what happened, but you can tell when he's telling the story, he suffered, or I wouldn't say suffered. Well, he did, but he saw so much that, if you think about if that happened to you today, how would you be? And he was strong, he was I wouldn't say he didn't say that just happens, but he's healed from it. He's moved on, but it's you could tell when he's telling his story, he's getting into it. He's, you're just it's crazy to be in this world that we live in nowadays and be an American and say you're proud of America, and then you see people that's just bashing America. That's, we don't care. We're going to stomp on the flag. We're going to burn
That's
the
a
flag.
new generation problem, though. Our generation and back, we respect the military. We respect it's a new generation issue. There's so much that goes into that though.
To me, that's the most. That right there is like a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Like to see that nowadays, like and having I've come from a long line of the military that served, that done their part, and to this day we have the freedom that we have. We can do what we want, and then you see this, and it's kind of like, do you realize the people that's fought for the freedom that you have, the things that you have, there's people that fought for that.
Yeah.
Like we could have been nothing. We could have been obliterated from the map.
But that's where like
I
his
even say that
podcast
right?
comes in. Like your podcast that spreads that awareness of people talking to veterans and people hearing stories, and not everybody has a military background or family with background in the military, so they don't understand.
Yeah.
I get it. Like you're for post military, emotional. I get it, and that's cool. I get it. I guess I'm more like what goes on today, and like, why would you do that?
But nobody here has that mentality, so we don't have the answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, like I said, my reaction,
exactly.
if someone was burning a flag like in my front yard, that would be.
Yeah, I mean that's like a kick in the balls. You know what I mean? Like,
it definitely is, and to her point of this generation, it's not a generational thing. I don't see it as. And I just got done. I was doom scrolling YouTube a couple weeks ago, and I came across this Vietnam veteran who was talking, and I think it was really poignant with the way he was talking about how when he returned different than the guys from World War II did, because in World War II, when they were done, when they rotated back to the world, they were put on these troop ships for 2 to 3 weeks, and they had time to kind of decompress, and you were with the guys you fought the war in. You were with those dudes. And so you had a time to talk about that time that we hijacked a train deep in Nazi Germany, or we went into some of these foxholes and all that stuff, or did this or that. Like the guys coming back from Vietnam, like all of them, a lot of them were piecemealed back, just onesie twosies on planes, and so they would arrive. And I've met Vietnam veterans that got off the plane and were told, "Hey, don't wear your uniform when you get off the plane," because so it's not a generational thing so much as a people using their liberties a little bit too much, I think. And again, I don't lean one way or the other politically. I just want what's right for the country and what's right for the people who are in it, who appreciate it. Right. There's a lot worse other situations you could be born into than what we've got going on here. So being some of the places I've been and seeing how some of the other half lives, like those people who burn that flag or who knock the military or the government or just being in America, period, like go over to war-torn Iraq or go to Haiti during the middle of...
Go to Haiti.
Go to Haiti after the earthquake that hit down there. Go to... I was in Korea when the tsunami hit Japan back in 2011, and then the core melted down in that nuclear thing, the nuclear power plant. Have them go there for a couple of weeks and scoop mud off the 3 feet of mud off the sidewalk in these towns. Have them do that, and then they can come back and complain.
Yeah,
I think. I personally, I think it's a generational thing. I respect your point of view, but I think it's a generational thing, for many reasons. But if there was a war to break out right now, and you start drafting people, it would be total chaos. I mean, because there's so many people that's against war, that's against military, and not only that, but just survival rate in general. I don't think people could truly survive the war and being in war. And
I guess they're gonna have to figure it out if a draft happens.
and that's
just what it is.
I think that's what it is. Like, you know, when talking to my grandfather, like back then you didn't have anything. You grew up on a farm if you were lucky. You had to make ends meet, and then they were drafted into the World War II. You know what I mean? And they were kids. They were literally kids. And here's your gun. You know, do this, kill, do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, it toughened you up. And I think that's what's wrong with the generation today is they're not tough. You know what I mean? Like, if you take their phone away from them, they're going to, like, cry. You know what I mean? Like, we're not tough as a generation. You know what I mean? Like, we come from a generation that's a little more tough. I wouldn't say we're like tough. You know what I mean? But we at least get it. But the new generation is like, you know, they can't. There's no way that they could ever survive. And if you put them in war, like,
Again, they're gonna have to figure it out.
yeah,
So
your training kicks in, man. It's
natural instinct.
Natural. It becomes second hat, which ultimately leads to when you get out, like, how do your reactions tend to, what way are you reacting to things? Like, I know good friends of mine that I can't sit with my back to the door, or I can't sit facing the door because they can't have their back to the door.
I have a friend.
These were guys that went like outside the wire and like.
I have a friend just like that. Yep.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep. So you've got guys that have been out of the service for 10 or 15 years that I know that, even all the way down to when that national anthem plays at sporting events, you can find the veterans.
Yeah.
They've got their feet together neatly in a 45-degree angle, hand over their heart, hat off. Our mannerisms, like the way we carry ourselves.
It just shows how much you appreciate your country. And
it most definitely does.
You know what I mean? Like you have much appreciation for that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And I think the generational thing might be due a little bit towards the social media availability and how, because you remember Vietnam was the first war that was on television.
Yep.
That was the first war we watched, like almost in real time.
Yep.
Then you fast forward to what we dealt with the global war on terror, Iraq and Afghanistan, and it was instant. Like,
my father's family, his kids or his brothers and sisters, he come from a family of 8. There was 4 girls and 4 guys. They came around and was like, "That's your number." If you were, so if you had a family and you had 1 kid, they're not going to take your 1 kid.
Yeah.
But he come from a family of 8, 4 girls, 4 guys. So automatically they're going to take one of the guys, at least. One of the guys is going to go to the military. They can afford, and this is weird saying this, but they can afford 1 loss in that family. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
you get
I
what
know.
I'm saying?
I know.
So my brother was drafted, or not my brother, my uncle, was drafted into the military. He was sent over there as a kid.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, you were 18. You're still a kid at 18. You can sign up for the military and be as adult as you want, but at 18, you're still a kid.
Yep.
Oh, most definitely. I had the good fortune not to have to deploy to a war zone at 18 or 19 or 20.
Thank God.
But some of these guys that come in at 18 and next thing you know, you're seeing them get on the plane to go to Afghanistan or Iraq, and knowing what they're walking into, sometimes you're just like, fuck,
You could imagine.
I don't feel
guys
like
that
you're
still
an
can't
adult.
shave.
I don't feel like you're an adult till you're like 30.
Yeah.
I'm like 47 or something. I'm still waiting to grow.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you being sent overseas to fight with a gun in your hand, I don't care if you're 18 or 30. Like, that's gonna make you man up really
Well,
damn quick.
let's lighten the mood a little bit because the military isn't all about shooting people and going
No,
with a
man,
gun.
we have
and,
so many adventures.
so I was going to say, like, what is, when my dad got out of the military, he said he was going to grow his hair for the next 20 years because he couldn't grow hair in the military. So that was his goal. So he did not last 20 years growing his hair out, by the way. It did.
Oh, no.
He still owns the ponytail. It's creepy as hell. But yeah, it's weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I wanna hear some of your fun stories from the military. But before we do that, we're gonna take us a quick little break. Ira Joker Dog.
What up?
Where'd you get the name Joker Dog?
So I was before I go, are we on the air?
Yeah,
we live?
We're back.
Okay, I just want to make sure, like, statutes of limitations and stuff.
Right.
So in the career field, because we're called port dogs, because we work in the aerial port and, you know, the military, we're all about all that cool stuff. My chief, he gave me the name Joker Dog, and what we do is, because we're port dogs, we wear these bones around our neck with, like, your name on it. And it's your nickname. It follows you through the rest of your career. So you really pray for a good one. Like, I know some names out there that are kind of like, oh, I wouldn't have let them go with that. But and we have what's called the boning ceremony. We all get around together for like a barbecue and some beers and whiskeys and all that. And you get boned, like, in front of your peers.
Damn.
And that, I mean, it's, my chief boned me. I mean, it was a good boning.
Wow. It's gonna make for
you know,
one
but you
hell of a
just-
clip.
Do what now?
I said this is gonna make for one hell of a clip.
Oh man, yeah, dude. I've boned a few people myself.
Yeah.
You know, spouses.
Get boned,
you know.
you get boned, and you bone, and you get boned.
Yeah, so that's how Joker Dog came out. So my really good mentor of mine, Chief Robert Bolton, if he's out there listening, there's his shout out. But yeah, we were at a barbecue out at some lake, and he, you know, did the whole knighting ceremony with my bone. And so yeah, that's Joker Dog, man. That's how we get it. The other alternatives, I was like, no, man, like, please don't go with that name right there.
What was what kind of bone was it? Like, what from what?
It's just a big, like, you know, the big rawhide dog bones.
Oh, for
Yeah,
real? Like,
they put your name on it and, like, a chain and everything.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so we'll be walking around these, you know, we have what's called a dog call, right? And it's just a reason for us to get together and bullshit and talk shop and drink beer. And you'll see all these, you know, fully grown men and women just, you know, that have been downrange and have done all kinds of cool, and they're walking around with this dog bone around their neck, just hanging out, chilling.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Joker Dog, that's how I got the name. Like I said, the alternative was Rubber Booty Dog, and there is a story that goes along with that, right?
I would prefer Joker Dog as well.
Do what now?
I would prefer Joker Dog as well.
Oh yeah, Rubber Ass Dog, Rubber Booty Dog. Those were some of the other names that were out there. So I told the story about one time I was in Korea and I was working in a passenger terminal where all the air passengers come off and everything, and you've got to go through customs and immigrations there. Well, you're not allowed to take pornographic material into Korea. So like the military customs will like hem you up and dump your bags and take all your shit. Yeah, I actually ended up feeling sorry for this kid. They let his first bag go through, and I'm standing there just BSing with the cops, you know. And the MP opens up this kid's other bag, and it's those green duffel bags you see in the military, right? And like at the bottom, it's like really squared off. In the middle, it's kind of squared off a little bit more, but kind of more compact. And then the top, it's got like this perfect round thing. And it's like, okay, you know, didn't really, you know. So the cop opens and looks down. And he goes, "Oh fuck no! Oh hell no! Hell no!" And he grabs the bag by the bottom, turns it upside down, and shakes it out. And out falls like all of these pornographic VHS tapes and Playboys and everything. But what was on the top that made it nice and round was this big rubber ass that you could tell had probably been gently used or something.
Oh.
And it just didn't fall out and land. It like fell out hit like this weird angle and like rolled out like past the kid whose it was, and he's just bright red now. And there's like shenanigans everywhere. So I told that story in Germany like almost 15 years later, and they were like, "Oh, that could be your dog name, Rubber Booty Dog." I'm like, or not, or I could just not attend these things anymore and like cross train to another job and change my name.
That's
so
interesting.
they went with Joker, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you see all kinds of weird, just random stuff going on in the military, dude. A lot of great vacations. Like when I was in Germany, I spent St. Patrick's Day in Dublin, Ireland. And that right there is every bit the shit show you think it's going to be, right?
What a place. Like, that's like where you should be on St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yeah. So it was 10 dudes who, I mean, and we all ran like duty sections and shops and had, you know, all these troops and people working with us and for us. But we're in the middle of Dublin on St. Patrick's Day weekend with no responsibilities, no cell phone reception, so no one could get a hold of us, no internet, and just a pocket full of cash. 10 guys with all these responsibilities just gone. And it was like 18 hours of just hitting the streets and having a great time drinking and just being a bunch of, you know, great group of dudes and all that stuff. Did Oktoberfest over there, the one in Munich. Oktoberfest is
like the legit Oktoberfest.
The legit Oktoberfest. And ended up going there. That was in 2013, and went with 3 other dudes. And now that was an awesome time because we get there and like all the tables are taken, so you kind of got to muscle yourself in there and whatnot. My buddy Sean walks up and just looks at these people and he's like, "Move!" So everyone like gets out of the way. We sit down, and one of the best benefits in the military, besides the people and the experiences you have, is we sat there, a bunch of 4 American dudes, and we're sitting with Croatians, Austrians, Australians. I think we Portuguese, and an Irish couple was there, and like they're all singing like their national. It's like in that movie Beer Fest. They're all singing like their country songs and their little things, and they turn to us and look, and it's like the expectation. We're just like, yeah, for the dudes, and everyone's like, what? Fuck it. So we've got like all these nationalities screaming for the dudes. So that was their impression of Americans. So I apologize if anyone feels slight about that, but for the dudes, man. But yeah, a lot of shenanigans go on, a lot of great times with some great people. The military is the only time I ever did parkour, which I am not good at parkour whatsoever.
Okay,
but,
I'm gonna ask a dumb question because I have no idea what that is. I really don't.
Parkour is where they do the jumping off buildings and jumping over fences.
That's not
all
happening.
that stuff. Yeah, I'm not that person. But
I have never even thought about or considered doing parkour.
I had not either until one night where it seemed like a good idea. So to get from the NCO club, which is the military bar establishment on base, to my house was like a really long walk, unless I went up this big old hill with a bunch of base housing units on the side of it. Like, well, I'm not going to walk like a mile and a half that way. I'll just go like 400 yards up. Yeah, I was not in any condition to do that. And then I decided I'm going to try parkour at this one, some random guy's house on base. I'm standing at his fence, like, fuck it, I'm gonna like run at the fence, jump off the side of the building of his house, grab the fence, and then just like somersault over. Now keep in mind, I'm 4/3 in the bag, right? And I'm just like in no condition to like hardly walk. And so I run, I put my leg up, and I ended up with one leg going straight up the side of the building and the other one on the ground, like at this weird 90-degree angle that no human being should be in. And next thing you know, like the lights come on, and I'm just sitting there just trying to like not get caught in this dude's backyard. And like the lights come on, he comes out, and I'm just like barrel rolling over the fence and getting away. And you're just like sitting there like, how did I get away with that kind of stuff? Like at that age, 30 some odd year old man trying to do parkour, like, yeah. But it's God, it was such a good time. Like 20 years, I could go on and on with, with the stories and everything, but um, God, like just the travel was great, just the
Yeah,
people that you got to meet and the experiences and the
you went to a
like the
lot of
downtime.
you went to
Hmm?
a lot of countries, didn't you?
I did. So, let's see. Start off Guam, territory of the states, but is actually super cool island to be on. Um, People there are awesome. Like they'll start barbecuing in the middle of the workday. Like you'll just be sitting there like loading planes and come in and there's like steak on the grill with
Oh
like rock
shit.
salt and they've got a cooler of beer and you're like, all right, well, cool. I guess we're done working for the day. You know. Did that. Went to North Carolina. Had a great time there. Korea, awesome place. Koreans are some of the nicest people on the planet. Like just legit nice. They sound a little aggressive when you talk to them, but like they're saying happy birthday to you, but it sounds really just intense. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, thank you. Um, let's see. Did that? Did Iraq and Afghanistan? Met a couple of really cool Iraqi security guards. They had some really cool stories about the surrender of the airbase that they gave up, and they were all sitting in a bunker. He said there was like 31 of us in a bunker, and the American forces were coming in to take over the airfield, and everyone in the bunker wanted to give up, except one guy was like, "We're gonna take our guns and go out there," and he's like trying to rally the crowd, but I guess everyone was like, "No." So I asked the guy, I was like, "So what'd you guys do?" He goes, "Oh yeah, we killed him." I'm like, oh,
Jesus.
like he was straight up. He goes, "Yeah, we're not gonna die. We knew it was over. Fuck you." Like, damn, dude. Like, okay. So you just like weird experiences you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I can
So did
imagine. I mean,
yeah did
I would say being in the military is just like going into an alternate dimension. Like
it really is,
it's a
man.
totally different world.
It's a great way to put it. Like I said, our language, the way we dress, the way we do things and operate, and it's not the 9 to 5 that a lot of people get in the civilian sector, right? Because you figure I was working 8 to 10 hours a day when when I retired, 8 to 10 hours a day, but then you've got 2 hours of taking care of your folks, all their stuff, and then you've got another hour that you've got to do PT to stay physically fit. Oh, then by the way, you've got to go do this for your personal development and education. Oh, and by the way, there's more admin work that comes up. So it stresses you a lot. And you look forward to the retirement or the separation, um, depending on how long you served, and you look forward to that veteran status and everything. But when you get out, man, you look back at all those adventures and you kind of sit there and go, man, like what a ride,
Right.
and you go through the stuff of the transition and the loss of purpose and identity, but you can always look back and go, there's some cool times in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the best people on the planet. It's really unique in the military, the people you meet, because like it's so multicultural background, right? Like you could be at a party where there's country music blaring and you've got, I think one time I threw a party at my house and I had like this legit ex-cholo next to me ringing in the new year while we're blaring Hank Williams Jr.,
Oh my god.
and like my Filipino friend came in with lumpia. It was just this big grab bag of folks, man, that you get so used to it. And when you lose that, you kind of start feeling isolated, like her brother, isolated and alone, and you fall into those isms like that. But when it's happening, when the good times are happening in the military, there's no better place to be. There really isn't.
I was there. Like my dad has some great stories. I mean, they went out
Oh, I
and
bet, yeah.
celebrated when he became chief, and
Mhm.
now your chief is standing at the top of the hill taking a piss, and he's drunk as
Mm.
hell, and he rolls down the hill while continuing to take said piss. So
happens.
now you've got his people under him. They're like, huh, this is my new chief.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
mean, yeah, you're superior, but at the same time, you're still equal to these people. You're still going out with these people. This is your family when you're overseas.
Yeah, this is that's our tribe. We're very protective over. We're fickle, right? You got to have the street cred to get in good with a vet a lot of the times. So like with your brother, if he's not owning up to you guys, find some of his buddies from that point in time. See if they could reach out to him, or
Yeah.
a familiar face from that period of his life that could be like, hey, dude, like, we heard you're doing this. He might open up.
I
You never
think
know.
he's just having a hard time like gripping onto like career, what he wants. I mean, the military was his career, and I think he only did the 8 years. I think he only did 2, but it's just gripping onto what am I going to do and how am I going to. And he's been out for a long time, so it's like he hasn't grasped onto that. He's gone through marriages, relationship after relationship. Like there's no stability. Let's put it that way. There just doesn't seem to be any stability yet for him. And I hope he finds that. And it's going to take. I think he's been going to the VA and getting the help that help that he would need. I know at one point he was going to the VA. Luckily, we haven't had to deal with a drug issue with him. It's the drinking, but. I want to say he has improved. He seems to be in the longer relationship that he's in from the little I know. But again, I don't know. He could just be that person that just sucks it all down and just tries to figure it out on his own, which is hurting him even more. I wish I knew more. Like I said, I tried to reach out and he just... I don't know if he just knows that I don't know. Like I don't know how to relate to him. So I can't help you through what you've been through because I've never been through it. I have no idea what you went through. I have not a clue. And my dad doesn't have a clue. My dad was in the Navy. He was in the Army front line. Like it's totally different. So
yeah, it's a different mindset. It really is. Like I said, I know guys that stonewall being with anyone all the time. But then I know veterans who are out there and you know they're bouncing around and giddy and everything. But at the end of the day, they take that mask off and they're just as miserable. But then you've got a lot of really great veterans that are taking advantage of, taking care of themselves, their benefits, taking care of their family, staying physically fit. You cut out drinking. Like I cut out drinking like a year and some change ago, and life blew up for me after that. So. Like I said, the veteran community, we're a very close-knit tribe. My vet fam out there, there's no better family to be a part of, to be honest. And we do have each other's backs. So, like I said, if you could try and find someone that he related to when he was dealing with that stuff, and that might be just the thing he needs. I just got done speaking to a veteran this was last week. And he got out of the military and kind of, fell into the drinking and the cavorting around and all that stuff, and wanted to go into business. But the guy who he was asking was his old superior and senior NCO, senior non-commissioned officer, basically his boss in the Marine Corps. And this guy was a sergeant major, I guess. Just looked right at him and said, "Yeah, I'll help you all you want, but you're going to go to AA and you're going to get straight."
Yeah,
and he did. He didn't drink after that. He got straight and all that. And, and I tell you that to show you that sometimes like all the civilian help and even some of the other veterans, but once you find that one guy or gal that can relate to that veteran, that is like worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Because like you can just sit there and I got guys that talk to me all the time. I just kind of sit and listen, and that's all we want sometimes is just someone to listen and validate our feelings and let us get through it or help us get through it, support us, So that's why Bravo Mission Radio is out there. It's what it is, man. It's just get all of our veterans to realize they're not in it alone. We all go through it, and, that's what we're here for, is just tune in, learn some tidbits, hear the stories of other veterans, what they went through and what they're still going through, relate to it, and just be a part of that tribe, be a part of that vet fam network, Yeah.
Definitely. Ira, we really appreciate you coming on and telling us your story and telling us about yourself and some of your adventures and good times. You're an awesome dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't take my crazy drugs for like 2 days to gear up for this.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate what you've done and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much for doing everything you've done.
It was a good time. Highs and lows and everything. At the end of the day, I look back on it fondly, and it was worth it to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll definitely be
So-
listening to your podcast more. It was definitely interesting. I like to hear those stories, those after stories, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna get more of them out. So to any of my vet fam that might be watching, if you don't mind, I might do a little shameless plug for
Go
another
for it.
something.
Yeah,
we're doing.
absolutely.
So to the vet fam, to my tribe out there, we have gotten so many folks giving us their story. We are actually now going to do an offshoot of Bravo Mission Radio that is going to have one guest, one host, and one topic of what they've gone through in their transition. We needed to do this because we had so many veterans coming to us saying, hey, here's my story. We want to get them all out there. So now we're going to have another mini series called Bravo Mission Radio Personal Recon. You know, access the Bravo Mission Radio hotline group on Facebook. Look for me on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I'm on TikTok now, which I never thought I'd say, but so we're starting that new little mini series. We've got a lot of other things in the hopper we're looking at trying to get done. So yeah, we got, our flagship Bravo Mission Radio, and then Bravo Mission Radio Personal Recon for the individual stories. So stay tuned in, man. And yeah, dude, sky's the limit for us, man. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. Well, now that I don't have to ask you to promote yourself, Michelle, go ahead and tell them where they can find us.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. I couldn't remember
Nice.
the last one. I had a moment.
That's a lot of them too, and I saw her thinking.
Yeah, there's so many. Like,
Yeah, and he makes me do it every time. You'd think I know this, but
You would
can
think.
Pilot, write it
you
down.
could- right. Go hit that follow and subscribe button. We are live either Wednesday or Thursday every week, and if you do not catch us during the live, you will not be able to watch it or hear it until Sunday when the episode releases on Spotify and YouTube. So if you want to check out the episode, we've had a great time. Check it out on Sunday when it drops.
Awesome. We are going to let you go from here. Ira, it's been awesome talking to you. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man.
Definitely stay in contact. Maybe,
Yeah, we'll do, man.
Maybe we can do a follow-up episode in 6 months or so.
Yeah, I'll bring my Chaz with me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you
bring
right
the
now,
team.
we're probably gonna take over the show because that's just our vibe, right? He's the serious one, I'm the funny one. But when he tells a joke, it's 10 times funnier. When I get serious, people are like, "What the fuck's wrong with him?" It's great, dude.
That's
I'll bring him
awesome.
along, man. We'll make a day of it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man.
Outstanding.
Perfect. Well, hope you have a great night, and yeah. See you later.
Jesus.
See you later. I didn't know how to end that. But yeah. So that's been that was fun. We had a guest.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do more of those guests that are not here. Like
More virtual?
more, yeah. I think like that went really well. I
It
think.
did. Well, the other virtual
Like the
guest we've
sound
had
and
was
all that?
during that stupid dating show. So
Yeah, true. But yeah,
things are different.
Cool.
Well, and he has his own podcast, so he knows sound.
Oh, true.
When
Yeah.
you
That
got
makes
somebody
sense.
on
All
their
right.
cell phone,
Maybe I take that back.
yeah. So let's calm down.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys listening. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been really reckless. That's been Reckless Banter. We are out.